When you think of the Amish, you might imagine a lifestyle right out of the 1800s, heating water over an open fire, or even toughing it out with cold showers to build character. But what's the reality? It's far more fascinating. The Amish have devised innovative ways to get hot water without relying on power companies, propane delivery, or anything else related to contemporary infrastructure. Before we get into the intricacies, it's important to understand that there is no common Amish way of doing things. Each Amish community sets its own standards, and what is permitted varies greatly. Who decides all of this? The bishop for each community. He's the one who establishes the rules, whether it's about transportation, fabric selection, or yes, even how to acquire hot water. This means that some communities adhere to rigorous customs, while others adopt a more relaxed approach. Now consider your personal hot water system for a moment. You presumably just turn a knob, wait a time, and presto, steaming hot water. So convenient, right? But here's the catch. What happens if the electricity goes out? Or does a storm knock off the power lines? Suddenly that convenience has you shivering in a cold shower, trusting your fingers that the power provider would fix it quickly. The Amish, on the other hand, have a very different attitude toward hot water. They do not rely on systems that they cannot repair themselves. If something stops working, they don't hang around waiting for a repairman. They get firewood, refill kerosene, and handle everything on their own. It exemplifies self-reliance at its finest. So how do they pull it off? Let's break it down, beginning with the most traditional villages. When people think of the Amish, they frequently see the Schwarzentruber Amish. These people are as old school as it gets. They value simplicity in a world that is always looking for the next big thing. While the rest of us are addicted to our screens, they prioritize practical, hands-on living, no frills, no fuss, just hard work. Inside their homes, there are no high-tech showers or sophisticated plumbing. Instead, envision a family seated around a robust wooden table, working together to do daily tasks. It's reminiscent of Little House on the Prairie, but with less drama and a lot more teamwork. Their secret for hot water? Cast iron stoves that may outlive everything in your kitchen. These stoves do it all, cook meals and heat water simultaneously. Some households use kettles or large pots directly on the stove, making it a multitasking powerhouse. And here's where things get even smarter. Many Schwartz and Truber homes use gravity-fed pipes to transport hot water from the stove to where it's required, such as the bathroom. Simple, efficient, and completely independent of current utilities. Or even the kitchen. Who needs a plumber when you can rely on the rules of physics? It's similar to a hot water distribution system from a science experiment, except it's more practical, efficient, and doesn't cause a mess. Here's how it all comes together. The wood-fired stove takes center stage in the kitchen, emitting warmth and creating a welcoming ambiance. Mornings begin with the family starting up the stove to make breakfast, while also heating water for the day. Cooking on a wood stove is an art form, as anyone who has done so can tell you. Too little wood results in lukewarm soup. Too much, and you might as well be acting out a fire-breathing dragon scene. The bathing process is just as hands-on. A huge copper kettle sits on the stove and serves as the family's hot water reservoir. When it's bath time, they scoop out the hot water, add a splash of cold for the appropriate temperature, and voila, instant relaxation after a long day on the farm. Consider a current teenager trying to understand this procedure. If you ask them to heat their bathwater over a fire, they'll most likely assume you're holding a medieval TikTok challenge. Imagine their shock when they find there is no switch for quick hot water, and they must cut wood, start a fire, and plan their bath schedule. It sounds like a great idea for a reality show. Teens in the 1800s, can they handle the heat? What's more impressive is how effective this approach can be. Schwartz and Truber homes often have well-insulated kitchens, so heat from the stove does not simply evaporate into the ether. Every ounce of warmth is put to good use, creating an efficient and comfortable kitchen. It's an energy-efficient setup that we might all benefit from, especially given rising utility expenses and the complications of modern living. Why not keep things simple? Of course, relying on wood stoves provides a built-in workout. Chopping wood, keeping the fire going, and managing the heat. is almost like an Olympic sport, sans the medals and ceremony. But here's the thing, each log they split and kettle they fill earns them a reward. After all that effort, they have hot water and the satisfaction of knowing they earned it. You must applaud their resourcefulness. No more waiting for utility companies or dealing with leaking pipes. Their system works. Plain and simply, what distinguishes the Schwartz and Truber lifestyle is its deep connection to their ideals. Everything they do exemplifies hard work, family, and community. Heating water is more than simply a boring activity. It exemplifies their way of life, a concrete outcome of their hard work and collaboration. And let's not forget about bonding. Gathering around the stove, chopping wood, or assisting with household duties feels more like great family time than work. In today's society, where families are often dispersed, shared memories like these are invaluable gifts. Now, speaking of preserving traditions, we've decided to endorse one resource on this channel, a book by veteran prepper Claude Davis. It contains information on 126 superfoods, as well as preservation strategies used throughout difficult periods such as the Great Depression and World War II. We're supporting it because we believe we're the last generation to pass these vital talents down to our children and grandchildren. It would be a tragedy if knowledge of extremely nutritious foods and crisis resilience preservation technologies vanished overnight. Fortunately, resources are available to help keep these traditions alive. One such resource is Nicole Apollon's Natural Treatments book, which is available in the store alongside Claude Davis's guide. If you're watching this on television, simply grab your phone or tablet, search for our channel, Finest Mind, and click the link in the channel or video descriptions to learn more about these excellent books. Now back to the Amish. Consider the old order, Amish, to be the cool elder sibling who has perfected the skill of combining practicality and tradition. While they are less conservative than their Schwartz and Truber colleagues, they resist becoming overly comfortable with modern amenities. Instead of explicitly rejecting technology, many prefer to use simpler tools that are consistent with their values, technologies that make life easier without tying them to the electric grid or external infrastructure. The old order Amish live a humble agrarian life, making every resource count. Picture a well-kept farm with families working together in the fields or caring for cattle. They're experts at adapting older technologies to meet their demands. Whether it's hand-cranked butter churns or pedal-powered equipment, their innovation is all about efficiency while remaining true to their core ideals. Now let's discuss their attitude to hot water. The old order. Amish use gas or kerosene water heaters with a twist. They keep everything totally off the grid. They can take hot showers or wash dishes while the rest of the world waits for a downed power line to be fixed. Talk about independence. Here's how it works. These heaters run on natural gas or kerosene and function as standalone units. Each family has its own fuel tanks, which are stored separately, ensuring complete independence from public utilities. It's like having your own private power plant, but without the corporate headaches. In a typical old order home, you'd find a gas or kerosene heater that resembles a traditional wood burner with modern upgrades. These heaters employ manual ignition, no electronics, no fancy switches, just a single spark to start the flame. Once started, hot water flows consistently without relying on fragile electronics that may fail when you need them the most. Kerosene has been used to heat water off-grid for decades. For those accustomed to modern comforts, it may feel like stepping back in time. However, the brilliance of this method rests in its simplicity and durability. It demonstrates the premise that older methods can nonetheless outperform newer ones in the correct circumstances. And did you know that kerosene may be used for more than just heating water? Long before the light bulb became the standard for illumination, kerosene lamps lighted up homes all across the world. The old order. Amish have simply adapted this adaptable fuel to their heating needs, demonstrating that sometimes the old ways are the best. Of course, there are challenges. You can't just go to the shop and get more kerosene anytime you want. You have to prepare ahead. Families must ensure that their tanks are stocked before winter comes in. However, as the adage goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of kerosene. Okay, Maybe they don't literally say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of kerosene, but that makes perfect sense. The old order. Amish place a high value on community, and their methods of boiling water reflect this. They frequently trade and exchange resources, perhaps exchanging a couple liters of kerosene for a handmade pie or freshly picked veggie. If you thought the Amish were only about horse-drawn buggies and hand-cranked butter churns, the New Order Amish may surprise you. Considered the most advanced Amish group, relatively speaking, of course, they support certain technology improvements, particularly those that encourage sustainability and independence. For them, it's all about harnessing the power of the sun while adhering to their ideals. And frankly, who wouldn't want sunlight to heat their bathwater? While other Amish communities avoid anything that appears too contemporary, the New Order Amish consider solar power as a natural extension of their ideals. They've been able to enjoy a few modern luxuries without ever connecting to the grid by living in peace with nature. Their preferred method, solar water heating. Look closely, and you might notice solar panels sitting on their roofs, soaking up the light and converting it into hot water. It's as if they've turned their rooftops into personal power stations. These methods enable them to heat water directly and reliably without relying on external utilities or power providers. So how does this work? Pretty straightforward. Solar collectors capture energy from the sun and heat water as it travels through tubes inside the panels. The hot water is then kept in insulated tanks, ready for usage throughout the day, whether it's for a shower, cleaning up after supper, or dealing with the never-ending laundry that comes with having a large family. Water is available when needed. And don't believe they're left scrambling on chilly, foggy days or throughout long winters. Many families employ backup systems fueled by kerosene or wood to keep warm water flowing regardless of the weather. It's like having a safety net that keeps them safe whether it's raining or snowing. Here's an interesting fact. But solar hot water systems can supply up to 80% of an Amish family's annual hot water requirements. Yes, even in households with 8 to 10 children, this is how efficient these panels are. They've transformed something as simple as sunlight into a consistent year-round supply. You can practically imagine a family sitting around the table, pie in hand, talking about how to optimize their solar setup for the winter. Using renewable energy while being off-grid? That's a skill. Personally, I tried to install solar panels myself. After 3 trips to the hardware shop, I became best friends with the clerk, who most likely assumed I was building a solar-powered starship. Meanwhile, the Amish appear to be doing it effortlessly, most likely because they aren't distracted by kitten videos or the latest TikTok dance trends. Their approach is basic, practical, and refreshingly direct. There are no too sophisticated devices or perplexing setups, only dependable, effective solutions that get the job done. What's even more remarkable is how solar energy fits with their communal ideals. It's more than just convenience. It's about collaboration and sustainability. Families frequently work together to install and maintain these systems. Imagine a sunny Saturday with everyone pitching in, children on the ground passing tools, adults on the roof installing panels. It's a wonderful example of collaboration towards a common objective, while sharing laughter, snacks, and perhaps even a pleasant competition over who can carry the most tools. The New Order Amish demonstrate that accepting modern improvements does not imply losing touch with their heritage. They're not only being practical when they install solar electricity in their homes, they're also making a statement about sustainability and independence. It's as if they're raising a peaceful flag that reads, "We can live simply while harnessing the power of the sun." In today's society, many of us rely on a single source for our basic necessities, particularly for boiling water. Most residents utilize electric or gas systems. Sure, they're convenient, but what happens if the single source fails? Consider this. A storm knocks out the power, and that hot shower you took for granted becomes a distant memory. While you're searching for alternatives, your Amish neighbor is quietly stoking the fire in their wood stove, heating water as if nothing has occurred. Here's where the Amish way of life really shines. Their resilience and self-sufficiency are unparalleled. They always have a backup plan for wood stoves, kerosene heaters, and solar panels. For them, the worst-case scenario is just another day, not a crisis. Their systems are designed to adapt, so they're ready for anything. When the power goes out in your house and you scramble to locate ice or batteries, the Amish are most likely taking a warm bath by candlelight. Their preparedness extends beyond the occasional discomfort. It permeates every area of their life. A wood stove in an Amish home is more than simply a cooking appliance. It also heats water, warms the house, and promotes family unity. Here's a hilarious thought. If the world ever experienced a catastrophic disaster, the Amish would most likely emerge as the ultimate survival champs. While most of us would be searching for how to start a fire, provided the internet still works, the Amish would be boiling their bathwater and going about their business as usual. Their talents, such as making a fire with twigs and being patient, come naturally to them. Meanwhile, our reliance on technology and utilities makes us susceptible. When an electric water heater or gas line fails, it can disrupt entire families' lives. In contrast, the Amish use tried-and-true techniques to keep their dwellings working smoothly. It is no secret that many homes nowadays live paycheck to paycheck and rely largely on contemporary utilities. In contrast, the Amish have procedures in place to keep them relatively undisturbed by external interruptions. They may not have the latest electronics, but they have a wealth of practical knowledge that keeps their homes running well, no matter what happens outside. Reflecting on their tenacity teaches us a good lesson. Whether it's creating a home backup system, learning how to light a fire, or simply adopting a more resourceful mindset, there's a lot to learn from their way of life. When you look at the many methods the Amish employ to heat water, it's evident that their decisions are based on simplicity and practicality. All of this stems from a yearning for independence. Whether they're stoking a wood fire, starting a kerosene heater, or harnessing the sun, their systems are meant to keep them independent. The skill to fix things on one's own is highly appreciated in Amish culture. If a wood stove fails, people do not need to contact a professional or wait for a complex system to reboot. They simply troubleshoot, relight the fire, and proceed with their day. It's more than just boiling water. It's about keeping control of their life in a world that can feel chaotic at times. This simplicity is strongly rooted in their beliefs. For the Amish, the more complicated a system develops, the more it pushes them away from what is actually important, family and community. Their faith promotes a lifestyle that values relationships and connections over materialism and technology. After all, it's difficult to hold a meaningful family conversation when everyone is riveted to their screens. Plus, it's difficult to scroll TikTok while cutting firewood. The Amish have maintained their focus on what truly matters. Their approach to water heating represents a microcosm of their whole worldview. By removing unneeded complexity, they promote stronger family relationships and a better feeling of community. Every pot of hot water they heat demonstrates their determination to live a life free of modern society's distractions. Now let's look into the ingenious innovation behind these DIY water systems. The Amish are masters of practical solutions, combining what they already have to build efficient setups. Their ingenuity shines through when they convert obsolete mechanical pieces into water pumps or modify wood heaters to fulfill several functions. Need a water heater? Why not repurpose a cast iron stove that is already doing double duty by cooking dinner? That's practical genius at its best. But things become even better. Some Amish communities have taken recycling to the next level by transforming old automobile engines into power sources for water pumps. Imagine giving fresh life to something that previously powered car journeys and transforming it into a dependable system for a hot shower. It's impressive how they refuse to let machinery sit in a junkyard, instead making it a key component of their self-sufficient lifestyle. Let's be honest, who hasn't had a DIY project go wrong? I once tried to make a birdhouse, but it ended up looking more like a bird mansion if only the birds would have chosen to live there. What about the Amish, though? They're experts at this. Their inventiveness is more than just getting by. It reflects their values and way of life. Statistics reveal that the average American family generates an enormous quantity of waste. In contrast, Amish villages promote recycling, allowing things to be used for much longer periods of time. This method not only avoids waste but also assures that resources are used to their greatest potential. They may not have all of the modern comforts we rely on, but what they do have is frequently better kept and more functional than the most recent high-tech gear. This ideal combination of practicality, simplicity, and faith creates a lifestyle that may appear exotic to some, but provides a refreshing viewpoint on resilience and self-reliance. In a culture preoccupied with the latest technology, the Amish remind us that sometimes less is enough. While we search the internet for reviews of the best hot water heaters, they are out there confidently creating their own solutions. No manual or customer care hotline required. As we conclude our investigation of how the Amish heat their water, one thing becomes clear. Their methods show a strong dedication to resilience, simplicity, and independence, while the rest of us rely on contemporary comforts like that flashy electric hot water heater in the basement. The Amish depend on systems that assure they're ready for whatever Mother Nature throws at them. Their attitude is definitely admirable. The ability to meet one's own needs, whether it's heating water, mending clothes, or repairing a broken roof, demonstrates the importance they place on self-sufficiency. It's a good reminder that we don't always need the latest technology or the simplest solution. Sometimes working with what you currently have is the best option. Now, don't kid yourself, we're probably not going to start cutting firewood to heat water very soon. But perhaps we can learn from the Amish and embrace more self-reliance in our own lives. While boiling water on a wood burner is probably out of the question, we can at least appreciate the effort that goes into getting hot water to our taps. So the next time your hot water runs out, instead of complaining about the inconvenience, take a moment to thank your lucky stars that you're not outside chopping wood in January. Embracing a little of that Amish mentality may just help us face life's obstacles with a little more grit and perhaps even a chuckle along the way.